When looking at photos or videos of wolves chasing down packs of frightened deer, it's hard not to feel bad for the hunted. And that can give wolves a bit of a bad reputation. As animal experts discovered in the 1990s, though, wolves are practically an environmental necessity. Once upon a time, wolves roamed nearly all of the United States. Then, as humans expanded, an all-out war began against Canis lupus, and by the 1950s, wolf populations were suffering. By 1960, with the wild canines too often seen as villains, think the infamous big bad wolf, the species had nearly gone extinct across the United States. Areas like Yellowstone National Park had lost them entirely. The unexpected result of this led scientists to do something in the 1990s that would have far-reaching effects few saw coming. By the mid-1990s, resulting from their lack of natural predators, deer in Yellowstone soon grazed away almost all the vegetation there. So in 1995, experts reintroduced wolves to the park. Astoundingly, this triggered an incredible chain reaction that no one could have predicted. As expected, when the experts set the wolves loose in Yellowstone, they launched right into a deer-focused meal plan. Because of the overpopulation of deer, the wolves ate like high rollers at a casino buffet, but the deer were no dummies. The deer, as you might have guessed, didn't really like being eaten, so they did make it easy for the wolves to turn them into venison. In doing so, they began avoiding areas of the park where they could be easily trapped or cornered. Soon, valleys and gorges were almost completely deer-free. Without deer eating every bit of vegetation, these areas witnessed tall, powerful trees beginning to emerge from the soil. In just 6 years, the trees were an average of 4 times taller than they had been before. Valley sides that had been desolate for years soon welcomed trees and plant life. Thanks to the wolves, Yellowstone was looking pretty fine. So fine, in fact, that birds returned to town. There was, after all, plenty of new real estate for them. But that wasn't all that happened. Along with the birds, beaver populations began flourishing in Yellowstone too. After all, beavers were known for their tree-munching tendencies, and with a wealth of new trees to choose from, they were practically in heaven. With their numbers booming, the beavers could do what beavers do best: dam building. The abundance of beavers created an abundance of dams in the rivers, which served as habitats for otters, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and more. The ripple effects continued. The wolves also hunted coyotes, a low-tier predator in Yellowstone that picked on the little guys. You know, guys like rabbits and mice. With coyotes less numerous, rabbits and mice proliferated, giving hawks, weasels, and foxes more to eat. Hawks, weasels, falcons, and eagles started flooding back to Yellowstone, and soon, biodiversity was once again eye-popping in the park, all because the wolves like to eat deer. Yet still, the wolves weren't done engineering change in Yellowstone. When the wolves ate deer and coyotes, they didn't exactly have the best table manners. They left the remains of their half-eaten prey strewn about the valleys and plains of the park. But apparently the wolves could do no wrong, for this too had benefits. Some animals saw those leftovers and couldn't help but lick their lips. Ravens and bald eagles fed on that carrion. Even bears got in on the action. Like the birds, they fed on the wolves' leftovers without hesitation. The bears didn't just benefit from the wolves' tendencies not to pick up after themselves. Thanks to the growing vegetation, berries were abound, giving the more vegetarian-inclined bears a chance at a well-balanced meal. Soon, bear populations grew. Unbelievably, the wolves didn't just have a paw in regenerating the flora and fauna. By simply hunting, curbing the overpopulation of deer, the wolves changed the very topography of Yellowstone itself. Here's how. Experts have known predators can change their ecosystem in a phenomenon called trophic cascade. But the wolves' impact on this process was greater than expected. As their presence led to repopulated forests, stabilizers for the riverbanks were created. In other words, the regenerated forests kept riverbanks from eroding, which in turn kept the rivers fixed on their course. As a video by Sustainable Human put it, they didn't snake and wind as frequently, all because of a few wolves. Another way to look at the phenomenon that occurred in Yellowstone was that an overpopulation of deer can actually destabilize environments and alter rivers. It just goes to show that in nature, balance is everything.